So let's see how this is going. There is an engine tournament going on my computer. Currently, I let them play without opening book on table basis, as usual, and yeah, currently Shallow Blue is fighting it out against Deep Gandalf. Well, in that case it's not Deep Gandalf, rather it is Gandalf, because everyone is playing against everyone basically, and it's a blitz tournament, and those are the participants, the engines which are playing in this tournament. And there are not only engines playing in this tournament, but it's also me playing in this tournament against all of these engines. So I guess I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, either 7 or 14 fights. Well, let's just see. So I don't play against myself, so that's taken care of. So I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 8 is 64 minus 8. Well, I guess everybody is playing once against the other one, so not twice. So yeah, anyway, can I close this somehow? Yeah, I could. And here it's basically, I don't know, Shallow Blue seems to have a good game here against Gandalf. And this tournament I'm playing actually because I want to know if I'm able to win one game against the engines. Maybe I can't. So knight to the b5, threatening on c7. The bishop is covering the knight. Well, this is kind of a strange position. I mean, I let them play without opening book or table bases. King d8. So yeah, and the hash table is also not that great. So let's just go back to the table where it is. It's here. I guess Stockfish 1 will win it. Maybe Fritz 11. Not sure. Probably not Leela, because it's an old net from the February this year, and it has an approximate ELO of 2000. And Stockfish, well, I guess me and Shallow Blue, maybe I can win against Shallow Blue. I have to concentrate, but let's just see what this is doing. So white seems to be better here. Both engines agree upon that. Yeah. So Shallow Blue is not really in good shape anymore. Absolutely no development. This knight is pinned. and attacked, so therefore Shallow Blue will win it. I don't know, I mean this check and the knight is kind of safe, but the king will go to some place, c2 in that case. This is a blitz tournament, so I guess knight b5. King b3. So now c7 is hanging. Wow. Oh, if you take the queen takes, right, but d to the 5. d5 is kind of strong. So d5 is kind of strong. Knight takes. Yeah. Bishop takes. Yeah, b5. This is desperate. Shallow Blue thinks it's even. I doubt it. I really doubt it. So king c2. What is Shallow Blue's next move? Gandalf thinks it's winning. He's winning. Okay, knight b3. Discovered check, so there is only one square for the king. King here, mate an 8, so it's over. Mate an 8 is announced. Right, and that's it. So now Monarch is fighting against Fritz. The first game was kind of interesting, so F8 engines fighting against F8. So we have 1428, yeah. No, we have 16. So there 7 it should be. There are 8. 8? Oh, well, 8. Yeah, 8. Of course 8. It's not 32. It's, well, 16. Everybody has to fight against everybody, so there is one. Yeah, we have the table here, so yeah, it's 28 matches. So now in this one we have d4, d5 with knight of 3. I guess Fritz is gonna win it. Guess Fritz is gonna win it. c4. So we have some kind of Queen's Gambit, Chigorin variation, or some kind of Queen's Gambit decline with the knight on c6. That's usually not that great. So knight c3. If takes an e4, this is probably kind of a better game. I mean, Gandalf, I don't know about Gandalf. Maybe Gandalf is also pretty strong. Every engine plays with one thread, CPU. Leela Chess Zero as well. I'm looking forward to the neural net games here. I'm not sure who is gonna win that tournament. I'm not sure when it's ending. So bishop e7, e3 we have. So now the pawn on c4 is officially defended. Bishop d3. Knight b4 goes after the bishop. That's kind of a good move. Castles. I think in hindsight I wouldn't have gone to d3 with the bishop, but anyway, so bishop e2 back. Right, but now you have a3 in some positions to kick the knight away. So knight e4, Monarch is going all out. So bishop d2. Monarch takes on d2. Very strong knight on the e4 square. Gives it up for the poor bishop on d2, but has gained the bishop pair from it. So now if, yeah, a3, because the knight shouldn't be there now, because b6 indicated that he wanted to go c5. Maybe instead of b6, c5 immediately was better, I don't know, or castles, but b6 has its merits. So knight a5, this knight is jumping around. Both engines are thinking they are better, so takes. Okay, there is a exchange sacrifice going on. Fritz gives the exchange, but has bishop b5 in mind. King of 8, why not bishop d2? King of 8, okay. So now the queen has to move. Now the rook is dead. But the knight won't come out as well. So bishop here, rook b8, queen a4, completely going after a7 and completely neglecting the oh, okay, taking on a1 is also fine. Fritz thinks the position is slightly better for white, but okay. So who is next? Who is next? Fritz versus Monarch. Is this fight? Fritz versus Monarch. And well, I can close this and go to the table stuff. So Shallow Blue lost against Gandalf. Fritz is currently playing against Monarch. So this is the current state. Let's see when it's my first turn and against whom I'm playing. Well, I don't really care. I guess I will be last or close to last anyway. So Monarch is not that pessimistic about his position. Fritz thinks he's kind of winning. 6 versus 7 pawns. So Fritz got a pawn for the exchange, but has a very nice pawn on the d5 square, which Monarch is not taking currently. So time-wise, Fritz is a little bit down, but thinks he is winning. Knight here, hitting the queen. So queen c8 or bishop takes knight. Bishop takes knight, pawn takes knight. Okay. Fritz is catching up on the clock. f5. Knight coming in. Bishop d6. Rook d1. c5. And now both engines are thinking that Fritz is winning it. Yeah, this was kind of expected. Okay, I guess we can... Well, Monarch is thinking that he's still in the game. Not anymore, I mean... Yeah, those pawns Fritz has, especially the e-pawn, they are pretty strong. So g3, bishop... Well, this is just same as resignation. So now we have 2 pawns versus a rook with yeah, equal amount of pawns. But where is the queen going? Queen of 1? No, the queen gives itself up, and now it's a mate in several moves. Bishop here, rook there, knight here, knight there, and it's over. 2 queens on the board. So now Leela is fighting it out against Greco. And Leela plays the move e4. We have the Sicilian defense with the move d4. So the Taimanov variation. Well, the strangest game so far was Gandalf vs Shallow Blue. So let's see, d5, e5. So Leela is quite happy with its position. Bishop here. Why can't you take the knight? Well, Leela is agreeing with not... Leela takes the knight maybe, or... Leela played queen a5. No, knight db5. Defending its own knight, and now Leela plays knight to d5. Okay, bishop d2 most probably. Takes. Takes, c takes. Okay, hitting the bishop. So the bishop has to retreat. c4 hitting the queen, so the queen would have to retreat as well. With kind of an even position, both engines are thinking that the position is kind of even. So now the queen is hit. Queen b6. Still covering the c7 square. Bishop e3 hitting the queen again. Queen c6 or queen d8. Well, I don't really trust in Leela chess position because, well, both engines have 7 pawns, but how to get your pieces into the game. Also, Greco has the bishop pair, so I don't think this aggressions in the start were worth it. So I guess it's lost. Greco is also pretty strong, I think. Not a favorite to win the tournament, but either Fritz or Stockfish are gonna win it. Are going to win it. But knight c6, bishop e2, b6 you have to develop somehow, and the b6 is kind of normal, prevents c5, or at least not really, but it's still kind of nice. So castles, probably. Bishop a6, right, going after this pawn. Knight a5 maybe, or knight e5. First of all, you should probably castle. So I think Leela survived the worst. Rook b8. Okay. Normal looking move, going in on half open file. Same does Leela. Well, how to defend against knight a5 and winning this pawn? c3, knight e5 going after it. So c5, hitting the bishop, so bishop takes. Queen takes. Pawn takes c5. So Leela is now up a pawn, I think, but it's not gonna... Leela is not able to hold on to it. Should probably move the knight. Or protect it. Queen a5. Not a5, queen h4. Bishop c5. And now queen c4 hitting the rook. Oh, queen a4, right? So if the knight is taken, then the rook is also kind of hanging. Okay, queen there, knight c6. I would prefer white here, if I'm honest. Well, I don't know. I mean, the bishop is attacked, so the bishop moves. The queen holds the rook. Knight a5. Rest is done. Knight c4 is coming, so the rook moves to g5. Are there threats? f6. Queen b5 hits the queen. Queen exchange hitting the knight. Rook here protecting the queen. The rook is hit, so rook c4. What is this? Takes, rook takes, and knight to c6 or something, or queen. Rook a4 is also kind of interesting. Hitting a2, defending the knight. The knight wants to go to c4, hitting the bishop and the d6 pawn. Bishop takes a7. Rook takes a2. A pig on the second is always kind of fine. Bishop here. So material is still leveled. Greco thinks it's an even position. Leela thinks she's better. 4. Rook there. Bishop b4. Knight c6 going after the bishop. I don't think... well, you can take the bishop. You can take the bishop. But rook a7... Rook takes, knight takes. So both engines are thinking that black is a bit better. I don't really see this. I really don't. Knight c6. Why is black better here? Well, Leela is probably going to win it, maybe. Well, you never know in this. Those nets aren't always... Well, I chose a net here which I can play against as well, but I don't think I have a chance against this network. I guess it even has more than 2000 elo. This net. e5. So now Lila thinks she's winning. Pawn takes knight e5 check, keeping the pawns on the king side connected. King g3, knight d3 maybe, rook c2 also possibility, as well as rook b3. Okay, the activity of the pieces is clearly in black's favor. The rook is just a monster. g5, creating a barrier against the white king. So now, okay, king here. Rook f2 going into this end game. King f2, knight versus, oh wow, knight d3 takes the bishop, takes on d6, and it's over, right? Doesn't do it. f5 can wait. Knight here, now king e2, f5. Okay, I think next it's my turn, I think. So king here. King d6. I don't know why this pawn was given up. I think it would have been lost anyway if the king could have reached the b3 square. So now Lila is up a pawn. But there are only 27. Well, it's coming down to time. King d8, king d3 goes after this one. Bishop here, so the knight has to move. e5, new try. Bishop here, h5. Bishop here, g3, creating a passer. So 11 versus 15 seconds. I think Lila is going to lose on time. Check. King here, knight here, hits the bishop. King here goes after the pawn, so the next pawn bites the dust. Okay, I will do this. Okay, Stockfish is playing against Lila now. Lila with the white pieces. Stockfish with the white pieces is probably going to go for e4. The Stockfish engine. Lila again goes for the c5 move for the Sicilian. Knight to f3. e6, the French variation. Probably d4. Knight c3 is also possible, as well as amongst other things. So knight c3, going for a little bit more close Sicilian stuff. Okay. Still d4 is kind of possible. Bishop b5, going to Rossolimo is also a possibility. d4 can be played at any moment. Well, knight here hits the bishop. Castles. So knight takes into a6. Could probably be pretty nice. Knight, oh, a6 immediately. Okay. So Bishop Lila is neglecting its developments. So b to the 5. Bishop e2, knight takes e2. I would at some point cash in and take the bishop, but I guess knight takes knight, followed up with c takes on d4 is not that great. 4 white either, so knight f6. Lila is a bit ahead on the clock. Very reasonable opening. Well, you know, came out pretty good out of the opening. Well, I guess in the opening Lila will be kind of my worst opponent, so Fritz and Gandalf won their games. Fritz, Gandalf and Lila won their games. Stockfish is battling it out against Lila currently, so he's left to play against. I mean, it should be my turn next. Why didn't I play against Stockfish the last round? I do not know. Okay. If Lila can win against the Stockfish version, then Lila is probably the favorite to win it anyway. Bishop b7, bishop b7, knight e7. Lila thinks it's much better. Not anymore, now Lila thinks it's even. Missed the tactic. Bishop takes. Queen takes, hits the rook. Castles. You know, those tactics are possible when you haven't castled. So pawns are leveled. And the game is going on for a bit, I guess. Very interesting openings. I feel that engines play it without opening book. There are always kind of interesting things coming out. I have to prepare for my match because I think I'm next, so So I'm back. Time-wise, it's kind of even. Position unclear to me. Queen h5 threatened. So rook h8. If Stockfish is not winning this, then I'm not sure if Stockfish is even the favorite. And I guess Stockfish is not winning this game. If anyone wins it, then it's Lila. I would take, yeah, of course, taking on b3. So a b3. Rook's file is now opens. I think Stockfish has to fight for a draw here. I guess it's not, well, like, the b3 pawn is protected by the rook. So far we had one strange game. f2 is hanging. Stockfish thinks this is a blunder. Plays to move up. So both engines are thinking, well, Stockfish now will win it, because Lila in its calculations missed some tactics somewhere. Yeah, here exactly. So the rook is lost. So therefore, wow, king g8, and it's a mate. Takes, takes, and mate. Greco versus Monarch. When do I play? Thought I'm next. All those engines have played so far. So another Sicilian. Another Sicilian. This is also kind of an interesting game. They will fight for 4th, 5th and 6th place, because I suppose Stockfish, well, I'm not sure about Gandalf. Stockfish, Fritz, they will battle it out for 1st place. I guess Stockfish will win. 2nd will be I don't know, I mean, Monarch, Greco, they can fight for 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not sure. I will fight against Shallow Blue for last. I guess me or Shallow will be last. Then Greco will be 6, Monarch 7, Gandalf 4, Gandalf for Fritz 4, Gandalf for Fritz 3. I don't know. The only thing I'm sure about is that Stockfish will win it. Fritz got the Lila got the good position, but blundered in the end. Knight d4. Sorry. So Knight f6. So far we had no draws. This is the 6th game out of 28. Bishop to the d6, threatening h7. Why can't you take on h7? Maybe because of g3, f4. Well, I don't know. I would take on h7. At least I would calculate it. Black is way ahead on the clock. This is somehow confusing me, this stuff, so I'm gonna do it like this. Now it should be right for the future as well. White shows up first. Bishop here. Both engines are thinking that the position is kind of even, but there is a lot to play for. d5 could come, e5. Where's this knight going to go? e8 or d5? Probably d5. Both engines are thinking that the knight should go back. I would probably go bishop d3 or... Nah, yeah, bishop d3. Knight takes c6. I would go b takes. In general, you should always take towards the center. And in that case you have bishop b7 and c5 to open up this bishop's diagonal. So now the bishop on c7 is kind of stupid. f6 is a nice little move. Bishop there, hitting the rook. So now there is either d6 or rook f7. d6 is probably a little bit weird. Well, rook f7 is also kind of weird, but not as weird as d6. d6 looks weird. Would have... So... Well, I would prefer white here by a lot, actually. But both engines are thinking that this position is kind of even. Queen h3. So now let's d5 finally. I mean, you have to play this move at some point. Knight takes or bishop takes? I would go bishop takes. Okay, we have knight takes. Bishop c5. Bishop c5, bishop b6, b4, knight f5 could be coming, or I would take and go knight b5 next, and then maybe queen b2 was an idea. Okay, I don't think it's that much worse for Greco. I think Greco is kind of worse here, but not that much. I would have done this before, but anyway. So in my game, I have I think I have 14 games. Twice against every engine. There are 7 engines, so I would have 14 games. Games is quite a lot. Knight takes bishop. Both engines are thinking that white is kind of better. Rook e3 maybe. g3. Well, structurally speaking, they both have a bad structure. Knight versus bishop, yeah, exactly, that's the problem. This pawn on e6 is kind of bad. Knight d5, defending by blocking. I think it's still kind of holdable. Rook e8. f5, defending by blocking. But now this pawn is pretty backwards. But I don't think it's lost quite yet. Queen here, going after a6. Black is on the defensive, yes, but I'm not sure if it's lost. So takes on a6, takes on c5, exchange of prisoners. Well, c5 would hang with an attack on the bishop. c3. Why can't you take knight c3? Because the e-pawn would have hung. So queen takes, rook takes. Pawn is still covered. I guess it's more like a draw here. Maybe white wins on time. Knight b4 probably. Knight a7. Rook here. Okay, now white is too active. White just attacks everything. The only piece which is not doing anything is the bishop, but now it's hitting the a-pawn. So the a-pawn is probably lost. And on the outside, Passer will win the game. This is desperate. So now the bishop is attacked. Well, e5. Rook d2. e3. Doubling on the b file a4. Rook here takes with check. King f7 or king e7? King e7. h4. Well, white is up a pawn. Well, it's a doubled c-pawn. But this outside passer is probably decisive. Okay, 13 seconds for black versus 1 minute for white, and white has probably a winning position here. King is coming to f3 at some point. This pawn on a2 will be used as a decoy. The knight on a7, well, maybe black has, no way this is holdable. I mean, takes. King a3, bishop back to the d3, rook here, and yeah, exactly. And now it's pretty over. Bishop f5, rook here, bishop takes. Yeah, this is dead. This is dead. Black is dead here. Also on time, so I'm gonna do this. Shadow Blue versus Fritz. 7th game. Fritz is gonna win it. Shadow Blue is gonna go for e4. Do we see another Sicilian, or do we see some kind of e5 action or e6? Let's see what Fritz is doing. Currently it's thinking that e5 is the best. Well, now I think it's the first e4 e5 game. Knight c6. Knight f6 is also playable. So d4 the Scotch is what Yellow Blue is thinking about playing. I could also play the Scotch. I'm not sure when it's when I'm playing. So this. I've played no game so far. I'll play 7 games and 7 games. Fritz is winning against Shallow, this is for sure. Just see where it's gonna happen. E5, knight c3 is also kind of possible. E5 is the main move, but knight c3 is also playable. Bishop c5, e5, finally. But now queen e7 is stronger than before because the bishop is already out and about. So I guess black is kind of better. I'm agreeing with Fritz. Not like winning or something, but to some degree kind of better. Queen e2. Probably bishop g5 at some point, but first of all knight d5 will be played. I don't see a reason why not to go to d5. So knight takes, pawn takes is fine. Knight e4. Well, I don't know. I would go a5, bishop a6 or castle. So now the e-pawn. Yeah, well, the e-pawn couldn't have been taken because the bishop would have hung. Okay, white has the bishop pair, but its king is still in the center. I'll probably go something like f6, d6. I wouldn't have gone c4 here, I would have gone queen c4, but anyway, bishop a6. Normal move in those kind of structures. Pinning the pawn. Not really threatening to take it, but b3, knight b4 is a move. No, knight b4 is no move. a3. Yeah, now f6. You can't take because of rook e8. So queen b3. Now the knight is hanging. But you can go knight b4. No, you... Well, rook here. If you take the knight... What happens if the knight is taken? cd5, rook e5, of course, with a check. King d8. I mean, otherwise you just lose the bishop. Or bishop e3 is also possible. Rook e3? No, no way. No way. Well, this is a masterpiece if this is working. So rook e3, pawn e3, queen e3, king d1. If you block with the queen, then queen c3 hits and the rook is won back. Bishop e2, rook there. So now this bishop will bite the dust. King d1. Not that sure. So bishop takes. Pawn takes. d7. Would run into some other stuff. So now the king can't really move. I mean, it could move to f2. It could move to f2. Or you can take this, but bishop b5 check picks up the pawn. I'm not sure. I mean, king f5, maiden 12. It's not about the pawn anymore. Bishop c6. Rook is cut off from the e-file, so it has to go to g3 or f4. So now the queen has to be given up. Okay, it's over. Stockfish versus Gandalf. 9th game. Well, I think I'm playing last after all the engine matches are over. I'm playing against them. This is also kind of interesting. 3-5. So far we had one d4 game. So Fritz has played a pretty nice game. The last game was pretty nice. So Fritz 2 victories out of 2 games, 2 out of 2. Right, so what is this? What happened? We have the Aljechens. Stockfish is playing the Aljechens defense. Knight of 3, e6, c4, probably. Knight b6, d4, d6, maybe. Why does kind of knight b4? There are tricks in the position. So if d6, queen a4, check, knight b6, d5, there is ed5, cd5 or b5, stuff like this, or b5 right away. Yeah, b5 right away was kind of good. So the knight goes back to c6, knight 4, c6. Let's see what Gandalf is coming up with. Pleasant position out of the opening. Knight here, pressuring the e-pawn. I would probably go bishop f4 or something. Bishop e3, why can't you take on the e5? Pawn e5, pawn e5, knight e5, knight e5, knight e5, queen a4, check, knight c6. Not sure why this pawn can't be taken. Stockfish calls the bluff and takes it. So I mean, Gandalf has some compensation for this pawn. And this happened, okay. You're not often seeing positions like this. I think one is much better here. Those weaker engines are not seeing this, but I think not sure. I mean, black is up a pawn, therefore the position should be kind of leveled. Gandalf has to play accurate. Rook c1, a6 to prevent knight b4 probably. c6 would have weakened the structure too much, I guess. So castles f5, f5 immediately. f5 d6 takes. Castles. Yeah, f5 can wait. Queen b3 probably. No, queen d2. Knight f6. I would go f5 and then knight f6. But that's why I won't be winning that tournament. So I guess Stockfish has consolidated and is still up this pawn. And also has a target on d5, which is currently hanging. So bishop c4, bishop g4, it goes after the knight a bit. h6, h3 probably, bishop f3. Okay, up a pawn, clearly better position. Stockfish is going to win this. Stockfish is going to win this. So Fritz and Stockfish will be battling it out for first. Gandalf is out of the question. I would give it as a win for Stockfish because well, bishop d6 probably. f5 could be coming at any moment. Queen h to the 4 is what Stockfish is thinking of. Okay, g3 is not possible because the h-pawn would hang. Okay, now bishop f5 preventing. Oh, now the bishop is attacked. g3, queen h5, bishop g4, but then at some point f5 will come. I'm pretty sure about that. Queen g3, then you probably have to take it. Queen g6, hg6 followed up with f5, and then Stockfish is pushing for the win. Knight here is even better. Okay, no, f5, I'm not sure about it. So pawn here, preventing f4, activating the bishop on d6, f5 now, probably to protect the pawn, or rook e8. I would go rook e8, rook e8. Okay, now there won't be an f5 anytime soon. So now Stockfish is a clear pawn up. f5 anyway. Still, the rook on, so bishop takes. Pawn takes. Right. Alright. King f7, bishop d6. Why not bishop d6? Why not bishop d6, pawn d6, and rook c7 check? Because of rook e7 protects b7, offers a rook trade. Right, okay. 49 seconds for Gandalf and more than a minute ahead for Stockfish. This is gonna be over pretty soon. Yeah. But let's see how to convert this, being up a pawn, but it's a double G pawn. So it's not so clear. White is pretty active. Okay, b5 is the idea. Otherwise you wouldn't go rook b8. b5. The bishop is a good defender of the c7 square, so those rooks on the c file, they don't really have a target, so bishop here is kind of nice. Rook c7, bishop takes, pawn takes, and there is no infiltration. ba4, b4, now the rook's file is opened. Rook b4 takes, pawn takes, repairing the structure, but yeah, okay, this is not really that bad. You could exchange rooks, but that's not what you want. Queen d6. Gandalf is pretty active, but the king is covering everything. Why not queen e8? Oh, the d pawn is also hanging. Okay, now you have an outside a pawn versus a passed d pawn. King g2. But black's king is more active. I would take the pawn on d5. Although then you probably have a draw. Huh. Takes. Nice stuff by Stockfish. Okay, now this pawn bites the dust. We are in a rook's endgame where black is up 2 pawns with an outside, 1 pawn with an outside a pawn. Probably it's winning for black. Now the material is leveled. But we have a3 on the board, much more active king. King b4. Rook b6 check. King c6, king a5. Rook b2. This is winning now. Rook here, check, queens, and it's over. Although I'm not sure. I mean, if the e and the f pawn would be away, then it's a draw. Well, not really, because the king is pretty close. Okay, this is desperate. So, it's over. Next. Greco versus Shallow Blue. e4 on the board. This is game 11. This is game 11. Okay, e5. I mean, everything else would be kind of weird. d5 takes and d4 probably. Or takes. Knight c3, queen a5, d4. This is something Shallow Blue played against me in the Scandinavian once. With the knight on c6. It's a tricky line because after d4 you have e5 in some lines and also bishop a3. Bishop queen e6 by Shallow Blue. Bishop e2, queen g6, bishop c4, queen g2, bishop f7, king f7, rook g2, queen h3, and knight g5 check would win the queen. So I would. Knight b5 is also nice, but I would go bishop c4. I would go bishop c4 here. Defending g2 with a tactic. But knight b5 is also nice. I mean, you can't take on g2. King d8 is just bad. Oh my god, why is Shallow Blue not playing like this against me? I mean, this position is just bad. Well, at least you attack the g pawn now, but bishop c4 anyway, or castles for that matter. Bishop h3 does nothing because of knight h4. It's probably still its best try. Followed up with queen g5, hitting the knight. But still, d4 attacks the queen, takes the knight, takes the bishop. Takes the pawn, or knight e1 is also nice. And then king h1 and the bishop has to leave. d4 comes up. Also bishop h5 could be something, so no, not anymore. I'd probably go d4 here. So I think white is close to winning here. Well, a6, I mean, black is kind of hanging on. Shallow Blue is playing the more interesting openings here. So what is this? So now the bishop on f8 needs to find a square where it can go to. So I will make a short break from commentating. Shadow blue, king e7. Okay, it attacks the bishop, but I think Greco is right with his assessment of the position. Pawns are leveled, but white just has king on e7. Okay, now Shallow blue is up a pawn. No, wrong. Pawns are leveled, but with the king on e7 it's a pretty bad position for Shallow blue. So g to the 6. What? Bishop is trapped? Well, bishop g5, maybe g6. Set rook e1 check. King to this square, so g4 probably. Knight here creates a square for the bishop and threatens knight f7. Okay, this is over. So Lila versus Monarch. E4, c5, knight f3, e6, knight c3 is what Lila is thinking of. Monarch is going for the e5 move. So this is game 12. Let's go to the cross table. Stockfish and Fritz both are 2 out of 2. Shallow Blue has 3 games, 3 losses. Lila has 1 loss, 1 win, so 1 out of 2. Right, back to the game. What is this? What happened here? I'm not that sure. We have English, and Lila is going after the b pawn, maybe. c6, now the queen covers the b pawn. Bishop is hanging, but it can't really be taken because of knight g3 check, which would have taken the queen, so therefore Monarch didn't take the bishop. g3, bishop g2. Knight h4. So knight d2. Monarch is kind of good out of the opening. g5, bishop g7. So black is nearly fully developed. White also doesn't have that many problems here. Lila is a bit pessimistic. I think it's a slight edge to black. Pawn on g4 is kind of good. f5 is a move I would also play. Or bishop f6. I will probably go for bishop f6. I don't see why bishop f6 would win a pawn. a5, f6, f3. Yeah, that's a good break, because now Lila is kind of back. Knight takes. Probably. Queen takes. So the bishop is pinned, but there is no real threat to the position. Those knights, they have a pretty good time on the e4 square. So knight fe4, knight e3, rook f8. It's a leveled game. So queen h4. Queen f7. And we will go into the end game most probably, yes. Or queenless middle game. Bishop on e6 is undefended, but there is no way to attack it. The knight is blockading, so a4. So nothing will happen on the queen side. Bishop. I would prefer black's position here, but Lila thinks it's I'm not sure actually, because the e4 square is also kind of free for takes. Also knight g4 could be an idea, and some could have been an idea. Okay, but knight here attacks this pawn, so Lila is thinking that it is quite a bit better. Well, if takes, knight takes, but if you don't take, yeah, this is the other option. b3. So rook g7, takes. Rook c8, knight c8. I guess it's gonna be bad for Monarch. Okay, the bishop is activated now. Monarch thinks it's an even position. Knight e4, rook c7, rook c7 or rook c2. I'm not sure why this is played. So h4, h5, rook c7. Yeah, h5 is nothing, you can just ignore it. Rook b7 goes after the b6 pawn. Okay, kind of. Fg3 would have been wow. Pins the knight. King h7. So takes, knight takes, or rook here. Well, no, knight takes was maybe possible, I'm not sure. Bishop here, knight here. Bishop f5 wins a pawn. Knight f5. Knight here. King g2 hits the knight. Knight f4, pawn f4. So Lila is a clear pawn up with a much better position. Just look at those knights. King f3 or king g3. Rook there. Yeah. You win this. You can't take it because the knight on c8 would hang. Still. F takes. D takes. Okay, the threat was rook takes c8. Okay, Lila is a clear pawn up. You can take it. Right, so that's over. King f6. Rook there. king d4, rook back, f4, 2 pawns up, it's over. So knight e7, that I would push, or I would take another one. Pins the knight yet again, so rook back, I would go g4, b4, why can't you, because of the check maybe, but still. Okay, 2 versus nothing, this is a complete disaster. So next one, Stockfish versus Monarch. Let's look at the cross table. So Lila has 2 out of 3. Shallow Blue has 3 losses. And I still haven't played. Oh, everybody is playing against everybody once. I have no rematch there. But still, fights, because 8 times 2 is 16. Why are Do I even participate in this match? I'm not sure. So, right, we have another one of this stuff. Queen e2 is a sideline. There is also knight c3 and stuff, or d4 is the main move here. I like to play knight c3 in this position. Queen e2, queen e7. Fine stuff. d3, knight f6, maybe knight c3, also an option. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop takes, maybe. d3 has been chosen by Stockfish. So knight b4 threatens on c2, but you can just castle. Fine position for both sides. Probably better for white. I mean, you take it, mess up the structure. Wait, what? Stockfish played knight takes pawn. Oh, no, okay. Get it. So, Stockfish is better here, according to him. Monarch thinks it's still kind of playable. So, this is clearly over for black. There are two passes, two connected passes. Weak d6 pawn, bad bishop. I would switch play to the king side. So, yeah, rook takes knight, pawn takes knight, and knight to the d5, knight d6 check, push the pawn, man, or take this first and then push the pawn. I mean, c4 is also kind of nice. Hits the knight, takes, then the king hits the knight, up the exchange, and still those pawns are looking quite good. King b3, so it's all over. So, yeah, right. Okay. Shallow blue versus lila. Very interesting game. e4 by Shallow Blue. Another Sicilian by Lila Chess. So I will make a short break, maybe even a longer one. So, Lila will probably win that. Yellow Blues next loss. Takes, the knight will be lost. So, Queen takes. Queen takes is nice because knight g5. And now it's not that clear. Maybe shallow blue will win it. So knight takes queen. Knight versus bishop. White is up a pawn. Yeah, that's the problem with this engine. Shallow blue will get his first victory. Rook f8 doesn't do that much. Knight here. No, it's leveled. At least on pawns. Rook takes. Lila is thinking that it's winning now again. E7, bishop g6, much more active king. Yeah, Lila will win it. It will be the next loss for shallow blue. Okay, it's over. At least I'm giving it as over. Gandalf versus Fritz. Fight number 16. I will go and sleep a bit. So now Fritz is playing against Dogfish. So let's I'll go e3, c4 here, or c4 immediately. This is the so-called Barry system. Not bad, not good either. Stockfish is kind of even. The position is kind of even here. E6 wasn't the move I would have expected. I would have expected something like bishop f5, or at least I would have played it. But anyway, you can go with b3 bishop a6 or b3 bishop b7 as well. b4, some weird nimzo. c5 will be coming soon, I'm expecting. This will be the battle for the first place. Both engines playing a pretty good tournament. Maybe Leela, this version of Leela at least, can do something about it. Knight c6. Weird opening choices, but when they work, they work. It's playable still. Rested a bit, wasn't sleeping, but anyway. e6 by Stockfish. Position kind of evenish. E5, E4, C6. Bishop versus knight pair. I'm not sure which engine to be preferred here. Spatial advantage as well for white, but weakness on E6, open F file, open B file, and knights are fighting for the C4 square. I also had a game in the French defense, bishop versus knight pair. I was quite winning. Okay, the E6 pot is not so easy to capture. The A3 pawn was attacked, so it has been pushed. Structurally speaking, white is worse. Very hard to assess this position. I would kind of prefer black, because those bishops aren't doing that much. G5 might be a move. It's prevented. Going after the fork on C2. Rook covers. The other knight comes to C4 probably. Rook E1. Bishop here attacks the queen. Battle for first. If Stockfish wins it with black, then Stockfish is gonna go through. I don't even know if Stockfish made some progress here. Probably. But it's not clear. I mean, H6, G6, this pawn is a thorn in black's position. But how is the queen gonna get in on the dark squares? Rook F7. C5 finally. Both engines are optimistic about their positions. I can't tell which position to be preferred here. For me it looks a little bit better for black, but the battle on the king side is won by white. Oh, there could be threats on G6. Both engines are happy about their positions. But I don't see progress for either engine. I mean, D4, yeah, Fritz is shuffling around, but Stockfish might be shuffling as well. I could probably call this a draw at some point, but there is still much to play for. I mean, B5 is a break, E5, D4 is a break. But there is, well, D4 might be something. But then you undouble white's pawns. B5. Finally a pawn break appears, but it's also opening up the A file for black's rook, for white's rook. I'd prefer white here actually. So now the rook is activating. The b pawn is hanging. Not anymore. Time-wise, black is a bit better, but this will be a time scramble. White is activating the king, activating the rook. Black can't do anything. Now the c pawn is hanging. Black got the pawn. Wow, this looks very good for black now. Yeah. This is close to lost for white. I mean, why did white give up this pawn? Yeah, now it's dead. Now it's dead. So let's see how Stockfish is converting this. Knight d5. So now still at the pawn. Very active king, but those connected pawns in the middle of the board will decide the game. Black's king is activating. Now it's equal on pawns, but those two pawns will be decisive. One up for white, but the piece for the still hard to win this. Not sure how it can be done. I mean, if this pawn disappears, it's a draw. But if so, now it's just a piece for the pawn. So, Gandalf versus Greco. Forgot that Greco is also in there in the mix. Greco goes for d4. Gandalf goes for knight f6 most probably. And expects the London system. c4. e6, knight f3, b6, knight c3, bishop b4, so a Nimzo it should be. Let's see where Gandalf and Greco will end up. The traditional line, so knight c6, d5 most probably, at least I would go for d5. So, Stockfish is leading 4 out of 4. Then comes Fritz and Lila with 3 out of 4. So they will fight it out for third. I still have no games. I'm looking forward to my games. I hope I'm not too tired then. Otherwise I would make a break. back to the game. So this is the current board position. I'd probably prefer white here a bit, but not that much. I mean, 97 c5 is coming, maybe b6, e5. Rook e8, e5, or 97 c5. Bishop to the d6 at some point. Bishop. Also bishop d7 might be a move. So, yeah. Let's shortly look at the table again. So, Stockfish needs 3 more games. Probably all the other engines as well. And then it's my turn when the engines have finished. So, clear last is Shallow Blue. It's gonna stay that way. Back to the game. Oh, wow, that's missed. The Greek gift sacrifice by Gandalf. King h2, knight g4, king g3, and yeah, that's it. I don't think White's king is surviving this of the knight g4. I mean, king g3, there is queen g4, f4, f4. Well, after f4 there is also queen back to g6. Queen g5 is what Greco thinks, and it's not working. It's also what I thought. Deep Gandalf or Gandalf goes for 97 to f5 and has some nasty discoveries after the king takes the knight. So knight c3 back goes after the pawn on e4. If this pawn disappears, it's pretty bad, but knight f5 seems to be winning on the spot. Greco doesn't see it. King f4, g5. King takes e4, knight takes d4. Now that's a nice king hunt by Gandalf with this knight retreat. Queen h4, threatening nasty discoveries. Queen g4 is same as resignation. It goes into the line of the bishop, and if this pawn on e4 is taken, then the queen is just lost. So queen g4. And with the king on e4 it shouldn't be that difficult anymore. I mean, what does white has? White has 2 pieces versus the queen, but I guess it's over. Wow, knight d4, the next blow. Anyway, Monarch versus Shallow Blue, e4. Shallow Blue goes for knight c6. This game by Gandalf was quite great. Let's just shortly go through it. Might include this in my book. So Cello blue. What? Do I play? No. But that's gonna be my first game, I think. Oh, those games won't take place. No, they're still to come. I'm next? Greco vs. Gandalf? No, I'm not next. I don't know if I'm next. According to this, well, my games are all line, so I'm not playing. I guess, I'm not sure. Those games are still missing. So, let's just shortly go through this. It was a Nimzo. I thought the bishop might go back and e5. Yeah, this was something. e5 and bishop h7. Yeah, that was kind of nice. With this knight retreat, queen g5 probably not working. Maybe even this is working, I'm not sure. But then you have something. Okay, you can't take on g4 because of knight d4. Discovered check, winning the queen. And queen g4. This would come with a double check. Yeah, that's nice. Anyway, so let's go back to the tournament. Cello blue playing with the black pieces. Very aggressive setup, but f7. Draw c3 at some point. Doesn't look good for Cello blue. It looks weird. Might be 5, not now. The bishop on e3. Cello blue is going about it. Knight bd5 or bishop d to the 2. Position still kind of leveled. e6, e6, c5, e6, yeah, e6, e6, c4, knight there, bishop d3, bishop c1, e6, I don't know. Well, that's not great. That's a success for Cello blue, but Cello blue won't win against Monarch 1.7. e6, knight e5 hitting the queen, and then maybe bishop b5, c6, knight c6, pawn c6, bishop c6, check, wins the rook in the corner. e6, knight c4, b5. I don't know about this. I would go for bishop b5 and king d8. f3 hits the knight, so the knight goes back. c4 hits the other knight, the knight goes back. Maybe king f2 at some point. I would have gone for bishop b5. Not sure about bishop b5. Oh, bishop d3, that's even stronger. Now the queen bites the dust zone. h4 threatens g5. That's not g4, and it's over. g5 traps the queen. Queen has no more squares. Knight g4, bishop b2, bishop b2. Well, that's it. Resigns for black. Stockfish, shallow blue. This is gonna be an easy one for Stockfish. e4. Knight c6 is not great at all. Not on a 2100 stuff rating. Knight f3, e6, bishop to the b5. Well, d4, f5 would be nice to see, but I don't think it's gonna be that way. Knight f6 would transpose into an Aljechens. d5 is bad according to Stockfish. Pretty bad for that matter. Takes queen, takes knight c3, queen a5. With the knight on c6. Pretty risky. So let's go. Queen e6. We had this before. This just does not work because of knight b5, maybe even bishop c4 at some point. Stockfish gives us a straight out winning. Queen g6, knight b5, king d8. Castles. Knight b5. King d8 and the d4. Cello blue thinks. d4, a6, knight e5. Queen g2. I would be cool to see this. But knight f6. Knight e5, knight e5, pawn e5, knight g d5. That's even stronger. This is immediately winning according to Stockfish. So the knight, if the knight moves, knight e5 comes just like this. Queen takes c2. Knight c2, queen c2, knight f7. Would be winning the rook in the corner. Therefore knight c7, king f1, queen, knight a1 wins the rook but loses the queen, so therefore this is bad. But you cannot move the queen anywhere. I mean, queen f5, bishop d3. I don't know. No, queen f5, knight f7, so this is over. Right, so Gandalf versus Leela. This is an interesting one, I think. So Gandalf is there with 2 wins and 2 losses. Leela has 3 wins and 1 loss. So how many games till I'm on the move? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more games to go. I guess then the tournament will be over. Not sure if I'm playing at all, but it's headed that way. Gandalf is also knight f3, e6. Hope Gandalf changes its mind and goes for d4. Would be nice to see an open Sicilian. shortly thought about b3, bishop b5, knight c3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop e2, it's choosing, d5, e5, e5, white is not better. White is not better. I am with Gandalf. I am with Lila, I mean. So d4 probably, or castles. Well, castles d4 by black, gains some space. Anyway, black hasn't developed anything quite yet. The first piece has been developed now. Position probably kind of even. d4 should be played. Both engines are thinking about d4. Maybe c3, but then d4 by black, so d4 immediately. Yeah, well, I mean, what to say? That's just an even position. A lot to play for here. So knight c6 not taking, because that would probably be not that great, because it would activate white's knight. So knight c3, now bishop e6, blocking the e-file. Maybe preparing something like c4. Bishop b5, pinning the knight. Bishop d6, dc5, bishop c5 and knight e5, rook c8. It's not bad for Lila. This is gonna be a very, very decisive game. Very, very decisive. For the standings, bishop e3, bishop e3, f e3, both engines are quite optimistic with their position. Isolated e-pawn, isolated d-pawn. I'm more happy with black here. More space in the center, the e3 pawn is kind of weak. If anything, black is better. So queen d3. Rook c8. Probably rook a e1 or rook a d1. a3 takes away the b4 square for the black knight. Also reasonable. Queen c7, rook a d1. Kind of nice position for both sides. I would still prefer black's position here. King h1 goes out of the diagonal, and also not doing that much. Rook f d8. Yeah, black is more than fine here. Bishop a4, I don't really understand that move. Knight to the g4, h3, bishop c6, h3. I would go h3 here. What's the point? Ah, the point is knight e5, knight e5, queen e5, or knight f6, provoking a weakness. Maybe at some point bishop, queen d7, bishop h3, I don't see it. Knight coming into d4, then you have to take it. Not now. The bishop is hanging. Rook defense. Interesting stuff. Rook f2. Bishop goes back. Probably I would save it. Yeah, also covers the pawn. So now c4, c5, d4. could come as well as 95. Gandalf is doing nothing, waits for Leela what to do. Gandalf is down on the clock. Leela thinks it's quite good. The bishop is coming to the rook is coming to h5 or g5. Or he's gonna double and go after the e-pawn. Yeah, right. Rook here. I hope there will be no blunder of a tactic. Doesn't look as so. Rook f7. Yeah, well, you blundered this. Knight g6 wins the rook on f1, but Gandalf thinks it's still kind of good. What is he thinking? King g1, rook e3, knight f1, queen here, mate in 3, Gandalf 1. That's simple. There is just no defense against queen g7 or rook g7 for that matter. Yeah, rook g7, where to go? Rook here, it's over. Okay, quick win. Quick end here. So d4. d4, knight f6. So go to the cross table. d4, d5. So for Stockfish there is one reminder against 6 against Greco. Greco has 2 more games to go. One is currently going. Shadow Blue lost everything. Gandalf won 3 out of 5. Same as Leela. But Leela has to go against Fritz. And Gandalf has to go against Monarch. Also not that easy. This will also be pretty interesting. Fritz will probably win against Leela. I don't know, I mean, if Leela is not blundering a tactic, it's playing pretty well. It's gonna be pretty hard to see. And all engines have to play against me as well. I'm not sure if those games will ever happen, but we'll never know. So, bishop g6, we have some kind of queen's gambit semi-Slav. Fritz is white, has the bishop pair. Greco has damaged structure on the king's side, but the open, half-open file for its rook. Hg6, bishop d2, knight there. So h3, knight g, it's not, well, knight g4 wasn't possible before anyway, but okay, bishop e7, dc4, bishop c4, b5, b5, b4 is interesting, but the c pawn is kind of weak. The knight can come to can't because the knight on the 6, but knight a4 at some point. I doubt that Greco is gonna go for b5, but you'll never know. Queen b6 goes after the b pawn is what he's trying to do, and castling queenside. But then e4, bishop f4 could become dangerous. But castling queenside is nice. Queen b3. I mean, castles queen b2, rook b1. I don't know. Queen b2. Why can't you take on b2? Why can't you take on b2? Why can't you take on b2? This is something to investigate later. Very interesting position. Okay, now you should probably not take on b2 because this would open up too much. Knight h5, knight, king b1, a5. Okay, that's, I mean, king b1 is a move you want to play in some positions, but a5, queen c7, and even a6, creating this thorn in black's position. I mean, you can really take because rook takes or bishop takes. Rook takes, probably, because it would also attack the b5. b5 is a bit better, it attacks the bishop. I'm not sure, maybe you have bishop takes. Maybe you have bishop takes after b5, or knight takes. Well, you can also go back, put a rook on the c file and sacrifice later. You can also go queen b3, by the way. Many choices. Well, bishop b2 to f3 is probably best. Bishop d3, bishop to d3. Okay, there is a pawn on a6, but how to break through? Fritz is thinking it's quite much better for white. I also see that. The bishop on f8 is not doing that much. White has the bishop pair. Black is the one opening up the center. That's not gonna be right. Okay, rook c1 threatens knight b5. So queen b6. What, knight c5? What is knight c5? Ah, knight c5 hits the bishop. And if the knight is taken, then the bishop is taken. Knight b5 hits the queen. Takes, and then knight is taken with the rook. Well, no, it's not, because the bishop covers it, so I'm not sure what to do. b4, okay, that's right. So now Fritz is just completely smashing through. So how to do this? ed4, ed4, pawn takes an e3, bishop e3, and this isn't good. Queen probably coming to f3 at some point, or to b5, b3. b3 is probably better, it defends the bishop and threatens on b5, so that's over. Yeah, Fritz is thinking about queen b3, bishop pair, king c8. What to do? That's bad. That's not a position you want to have. So queen f3, leaving the bishop en prise. Bishop d3. Rook d1. If rook takes and queen b8. There could be bishop f4. No, there isn't. Takes. Ah, bishop f4, queen f4. I don't know, but this is bad. This is bad news now. So 5 versus 5. Queen a5, queen here. Bishop, queen blocks. Queen b8, queen c6. Goes here. But what to do? I mean, the queen blocks all the time. Queen e8, queen d8, queen f7, or queen b8. Right, that's it. So I'm gonna call it a day here. So next one, Stockfish versus Greco. This is the last game Stockfish is gonna play, and it's gonna win. And then we have 2 games to go, I think, or 1, I'm not sure. So 3 games to go, and then the winner is certain. Shallow Blue has to play against me. This is his last game, if those games ever happen. Greco has to play against Stockfish. This is the current game. If Greco wins, how to write this even one here? Means that Stockfish won it. One here means that Greco wins it. Lila versus Fritz is... Wow, Lila has to play against Fritz. This is gonna be a nice little fight. Lila against Fritz is a nice one. So... Has Greco to play against Monarch? Greco has to play against... Monarch has to play against Gandalf. Right. Let's go back to the game. Okay, that doesn't look promising for Greco. All those pieces are undeveloped. It shouldn't be holdable. I don't agree with Stockfish's assessment of the position. I mean, it's not easy to break through, yes, but Rook d1, castles, Rook d1, Queen c7 might be something. So castles. Stockfish came out pretty well out of the opening. But how to activate... Well, at some point you have to play b6. I guess. But b6, c6. So therefore, that's probably the reason why this is happening. a5 is also nice. Striking at this kind of stuff. So if you allow the takes... It's bad news opening up the A file, so you have to push or play f3 and kick the knight. Stockfish is thinking b5 is better. So sorry. Knight to the d5, hitting the bishop on e3. So Greco thinks it's winning. After queen takes, pawn takes. You cannot take with the pawn, you cannot take with anything. a4 might be a move. Bishop d4 is a little bit greedy. You take on a3, right? But you have to develop at some point. Bishop d4, Stockfish is not so sure about its position. Is down a piece, but White's king is still in the center, and there is a passed a pawn, which has been pretty far advanced, and Stockfish has got 2 pawns for the piece. So bishop here threatens mate, f5 hits the queen. There is also g6, but g6 is not that great, so this Stockfish thinks it's not that well. Greco is quite happy about its position. Stockfish is a little bit unhappy, not too much, but a little bit. Wow, Stockfish is unhappy. Now they made a threat on g6, so queen e7. So what to do? What to do? Stockfish will win it at some point, but I mean, I don't know. It looked nice, but I would prefer white here, if I'm honest. Not sure if I'm winning it, would win it, but I would certainly prefer white here with the piece, a2. Greco has lost some of his optimistic stuff. Stockfish is not so pessimistic anymore, but at some point white has to develop. If white has king f2, now Stockfish thinks it's a draw after knight c6, or at least gives it as even. I would prefer white here. No, I don't. I would say, well, that's a good move. That's a good move. Of course you don't take. Okay, the bishop on d7 is quite bad. So, bishop b5, knight b4, knight d4, knight d4 is not that great. Stockfish is very pessimistic about its position. Queen f4. So, what to do? e5 is not on. Takes the bishop and then e5, not sure. So both engines think that white is kind of better here. Is this the first loss for Stockfish or draw? Well, we had no draw so far. Stockfish is fighting for a draw, I think. I mean, the bishop has a square on a6 now, so rook a1, rook a4 hits the bishop. Not really. So d1, bishop e to the 6, a to the 6, threatens to take the knight, take the bishop. No. Well, maybe. I mean, you have e5 at some point. Okay. There is a blunder by Greco, so Stockfish will win that game as well again. Both engines are thinking that black is better. Yeah, takes the rook and queens the pawn. Takes the rook and queens the pawn. At some point, I mean, you always can do that. Now takes the rook is not that impressive. Queen e3 is very impressive. Hits, not really. Bishop is covered by the knight. Queen here. Stockfish thinks it's a draw. Yeah, it's a draw by perpetual check. Not anymore. Well, that's a weird game. It's gonna be something. Rook takes. Black is down so much material now. The whole knight takes. King takes. Rook takes queens. Yeah, rook takes or rook here even. No, queens, this is a wrong queen. This is the white queen, so rook here. Yeah, that's the end, probably. So Stockfish wins this one, but it wasn't easy. So let's see, king f6. So 2 pawns for the piece, but the pawn on a7 is pretty nice. Wow, queen here, that's a nice finishing touch to the position. There is no perpetual check, and the queen on e2 can't be taken, the rook will be lost, and that's it. That's the end. The checks will run out. Queen's the pawn. 2 pawns and made in 2, it's over. So, Fritz versus Lila. 2 games missing. Fritz versus Lila and Gandalf versus Monarch. Gandalf vs. Monarch is also nice. Those shallow blue games were quite quick. Maybe not all of them, but quite quick and decisive. Shallow blue clear last. This is what I have expected. The Scotch. I hope we see a bishop c4 line, but I doubt it. Knight d4, knight d4, knight f6, knight c6, and bishop to the d3. This is also a line, you can do that. I would prefer e5, although white won't get anything out of this as well, if black plays correctly, but it's a line. I had a game basically in every chess opening there is, maybe not in the Black Nodima Gambit, nobody plays this. I could maybe look it up and play it myself, but I doubt it's a good opening. If I have to play 7 games, then it would be kind of extreme. Played till midday, it would be quite exhausted and I would probably lose every game. Maybe not against shallow blue, maybe I'd even have chances against probably not against Greco. Greco played well against Stockfish, really had a better position, was up a piece. Well, the piece was sacrificed by Stockfish, and Stockfish was never really that. 94. Queen takes, queen e7. So let's go. Fritz is kind of better developed at least. So now the bishop is hanging. Bishop f5 uses the pin and forces queen trade. Well, you can go queen e2, but okay, bishop takes, that's probably pretty dry. I mean, we have the bishop pair versus structural weaknesses, so Lina is a bit happy and Fritz is a bit happy. Both can be a bit happy, but it's a very interesting end game. Probably kind of even, but there are still chances. Maybe we'll see the first draw here. Probably I would prefer black, just because of the bishop pair, but knight d4 hits the bishop d7, or bishop f3, I don't know. Castles. Knight a5 hits the pawn that way, that's also a possibility. b3, what is if you take it? Not that impressive. b4 fixes the structure. Bishop e4, so I would probably go c4 and take the pawn, maybe. f5, rook there, Lila is quite happy. A6, A3. So now C4 is threatened. There is not really much to do against it. Very good play against the C7 pawn. So C4 or rook AC1, even preparing it. There are no tactics. Weaknesses on the back rank as well. C4 at some point it has to come. Also C5 could be something. Where's this bishop going? Okay, E4. Oh well, that's the only square left. Knight B7, so this knight wants to come to C5. Bishop takes, and I call it a draw. Both engines have weaknesses on their back rank, so you can't take it. Rook F1, Bishop D to the 3, and Bishop takes C to the 4. No, Bishop C4 is, well, it's a draw if Bishop C4, but Bishop takes C4 and F to the 3. Hits the bishop goes back, and the king has an escape. So F3 or stuff. H3, it's still a drop. I think King F1, exchanging the rooks is the safest way. But it's not that easy. Still, I would go King F1. F6. King F2. Rook F2. Right, Rook E1, Rook E8, Rook E6. There is no win for black. Opposite bishops. Yeah, rooks are still on the board, but they will have to fight it out. King F2 I would do. Yes, both engines agree that it is even. At least kind of. So rook here, G3 or king. I don't know about king G3. I will go G3. Rook there is also reasonable. King F6, Rook DD1. I will go G4. I will go G4. Takes the rook, takes the pawn. G4 can wait. Black is down on time. Rook C to the 5. I hope Lila won't make a tactical blunder again. H5, rook here. So rook there. King G3. You cannot really save the A pawn. Rook E2. I don't see the tactical win here. Rook there. He wants to go. He wants to go rook there, right? So how to defend the G pawn? Not defending it at all. Ah, King F4, right. And if the rook is attacking the pawn, then the bishop is going back. Black is up a pawn. White has the outside A pawn. King is marching up the board. Rook F4. Made in 7, so it's kind of over. So rook Kiev, and Monarch versus Gandalf, the last other fights. So Lila will end up what did Lila play against Monarch? 4 versus 5. Lila won against Monarch, so Lila will end up. And how did Lila went against Gandalf? 3 versus 4. Gandalf won. So let's see. Let's just see what's happening here. So Greco with 1 victory versus Shallow Blue. So far, I might have chances against Greco and Monarch as well. Probably not against all the other ones. Lila could be beaten, this network of it, because it's technically not that good. But anyway. So, another Scotch. Knight c3 is a possibility, as well as knight c6, e5. Bishop b4. Knight c6, bishop d to the 3 at the end, because you cannot go bishop d3 immediately. You have to take the knight on c6 first, otherwise the knight on d4 would lose its guard due to the disconnection. Hits the queen. You can also insert the capture on b3. So Monarch versus Gandalf. If Gandalf loses, Lila would still be 4th. Okay. Castles in d5 or d6. Knight f4 c3, knight f4 a3. Bet. No, knight e4 a3, because the knight should have a retreat square on the c3 square. If knight a4 is to be played at some point, probably not. So both engines still in the game. Knight a4, bishop d2 is also kind of interesting. But knight a4, a3 gets the bishop here. So I've got knight a4. No, I don't know. a3. Also kind of gets the bishop pair, bishop c3. So it's still an even position currently. So b takes is forced. It's a normal exchange in the chess game. So structural weaknesses versus but the bishop pair. So bishop g5 might be something. Rook e1, rook b1 at some point. Well, rook b8. First to be on the b file, but okay, it's not so bad. Bishop g5 or f3 maybe. h3. No, f3 has more point to it. Attacks the a7. I will go rook b7. a5 is also something. So Monarch thinks it's better. After f3, Gandalf still thinks it's even. I would prefer white, but I wouldn't necessarily go c4. Rook b1, trying to get a rook exchange in. Rook takes, queen takes. queen b8, probably. What is this? Queen a1. Both queens are in the corner. This is not how chess works. But those moves have their ideas. G4, very committal. Knight e to the 4 threatens the f3 pawn, and it would come with a fork. So knight e5, also the bishop is hit, so probably bishop e2. Well, you can leave the bishop and play king f2 g3, and if the bishop is taken then you repair the structure, but yeah, bishop e2. So bishop c4. Gandalf thinks it's better now. Okay, takes. And knight c4 wins this square. Rook b8 wins the file. There is also a point for this. Queen a6 to c4 is probably more advisable. g5 is not possible, so f4, but f4 loses the g-pawn, so white has to make a move to save the g-pawn if it would want to go f4 and kick the knight, but kick the knight would lead to this. Yeah, that's a positionally speaking, it's much better for black. f4, there are too much weaknesses. Queen c5. I think it's much better for black. I can't. Well, the queen is kind of trapped on the a-file. Yeah, this is winning for black. There's no doubt about it. King h8. I don't understand. g5, h6, h4. I don't know. a4. Boxing the queen further in. g5, rook e8. There is currently no threat, but yeah, d5 will come. There is no saving against d5. So, but queen b1, so the queen can come out now, but yeah, it means that the a-pawn bites the dust. So knight back to the c4, hits the queen yet again. Queen b7 hits c7, but a3 or queen here is even nicer. So now there is black is a clear pawn up. Okay, white has the more active king, but there is also structural weaknesses. So what to do? I mean, the rook will come to the a-file. d5, e5, a2. Not sure, rook a1. Now you have to play rook a8, or I mean, there is also a point for taking the bishop at some point. So yeah, it's over. It's over. This game is over. King g7, h6. Or the king marches in. Well, king h1, nobody would play such things in the end game. c5, d4, takes, and king d4, it's completely busted. King f5 goes after the there is no going after the f4 pawn because it's defended by the bishop. But still, h4, b5, king g3, waiting, c5, c5, b4, or king there, activating the king even further. d4 takes. King comes to the c3 square and picks up the b pawn, and that's it. That's it. So I'm calling it a day here because now it's over. Right. So my games are really not happening. So let's see. Engine tournament. Me versus the engines. Engine partie. So I have to investigate something before I'm playing this. Database. Is this the first game? Yeah, I'm playing against Stockfish. Hope it's gonna be something. So yeah, I have a little bit more time, but I will play fast anyway because I doubt that I have a chance even against the Stockfish engine. So you don't, well, I'm doing it that way. So something like this. Still not. So right, a bit less. No. Okay, E4. We have the Aljechins, and I'm gonna go with my line here. C4, D4, C4, knight B4, A3. I can go A3 immediately if knight B4. Knight B4. Knight A6, knight C6. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna go there. But at the opening, I have kind of a good position. So knight D4, and the E pawn is hanging, so I'm gonna go there. D6, E6, E6, D6. If I don't take it, it's not gonna be good. So I'm gonna be taking it. This knight will come to D7. There's no knight here. Bishop, get bishop there. I'm gonna go knight f3 next. G takes. Opens up the E file. Knight here, bishop G4, bishop E2, queen E7, castles. It's fine for me. I can also go D5 at some point. Maybe even now. Well, D5, knight E5, F4, knight G6. Not sure. I'm gonna go there. D5 takes, queen takes, knight C3. Bishop G4, bishop E2. He's going there. I mean, there is a point for castling queenside. So, no. Bishop E3, B4, knight E2. Bishop E3, bishop G4, knight to the D2. This pawn is hanging. Do I have time for something like B4, B5? I mean, I can go D5. I don't want to go B5, D5. Well, I can go knight C3. Bishop E3, bishop G4. Takes, queen takes. I doubt this is good. Bishop E3. I can go B4 and then bishop D3 and bishop D2. But here's bishop there. I'm gonna go B4. I mean, if I lose, I lose. Doesn't matter. So bishop F6, bishop B2. Bishop G4, bishop E2. And some lines I might have H3, G4, bishop E, queen E7. This pawn is currently covered. I can go rook A2 to E2 at some point. So bishop E2, no, bishop D3. I want to go bishop E3. Bishop here, bishop G4, rook A2. it's sufficiently covered. He doesn't have tactics, so I'm gonna go there. And the rook could also go to d2 at some point. c5 is under control. He can go a5, but then b5. Bishop d3. Bishop g4, h3, takes. h3, rook e8. I guess I should go bishop e2. If bishop g4 now, it's not that bad because I can take with the bishop. Knight e2, so I don't want to go there. I can go b5, but a6 on some lines might not be that great. Knight b6 hits the c pawn at least a bit. So I guess castles and rook a2 there. Knight b6 and bishop e6 is nothing because of this. So after, yeah, castles. Knight b6, rook a2 prevents bishop e6 because then I can go there. So, right. He has no takes, and if a5 I still go b5, then there is no a6. So those knights, they are not that great. I can go rook d5 takes, knight takes. If I go c4, he's gonna go jump in. I'm gonna take, and go rook e d2. Or I can't really, no, I could, no, I can't. I should go c5. Knight a4 is nothing, so if he jumps in, I'm gonna take it. I mean, otherwise I'm losing this and I have a weakness. So I'm gonna take it. d5 knight here is not that great. I can prevent the pawn from going forward. Well, the pawn is prevented from going forward. b5. b5 now. Knight e7. b5, knight a5. Queen a4, c6, knight e2. Okay, b5, it should be. My position isn't that bad. So, queen, pawn here. Queen here, c6. Pawn here takes, c6. c6. Can probably ignore it and go knight e2, but then he goes c3. Also the bishop comes to e6. What about rook d2? What about rook d2? Or knight c3? Probably, what's the difference? I mean, I can go here, b6, c6, c6, knight c3, takes, knight takes, and the knight could come to this square. So I guess I'm gonna start with this. He has to react. Well, knight b3. Knight b3. Well, knight b3 loses the pawn, and he has nothing to show for it. So hitting the pawn, hitting the knight. b6, b6, c6, c6, bishop e6, knight c3 blocking. This is still covered enough. And I have rook there. Or should I go knight here? No, well, c6, knight c3 anyway. I have to develop my pieces at some point. Knight c3, bishop down, hits the knight. Is it bad to lose the knight that way? I can move it to e5. Takes. Queen d3 is not that bad. Knight c3. Well, knight to the d4 or knight to the e5 or some other move. Knight e5, bishop e5, bishop e5, pawn e5. I have h3 at some point, creating Luft. Rook d2 could come. c3 is not that dangerous anymore. So there are benefits of playing this move. Knight d2 c3 is not that great. I think the knight is stranded and I should probably get rid of one of his bishops. So knight here, hitting the bishop. He's probably gonna take it, but he doesn't have bishop there, so takes. f4 is an idea in some lines as well. What's that? h3, bishop back. f4. My queen is kind of stranded. So, well, h3 cannot hurt my position, I think. I can give up that pawn, go back, and go after this. Win back my pawn. Still have this one here, pressure on that. So a3, he's not gonna take it. I mean, I don't think so. So now knight c3 hits the queen. I'm not that sure about this one either. Knight c3 hits the queen. Or f4. I'm not that sure about either. Rook d8 is nothing. I mean, knight c3, bishop d6. I have to develop this knight at some point, so I'm probably doing it now. Yeah, knight d2 hits the queen, so queen takes e5, he's up a pawn. This knight is stranded. I mean, it can jump in here. So I need to figure out a way how to deal with it. Well, rook e2, he hits the knight. Rook c1, rook e2. Rook c1, rook e2. Threatens to take the pawn. So, okay. It's opposite colored bishops. And he has a double c pawn and I'm... So knight here. Unfortunately hits the rook. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of over. I'm still fighting on, but my queen is stranded. So, how to do this? Rook there is a threat. No, it's covered. It's covered. So, but knight e2 is not working. g3, bishop takes is not good. King f1. Well, the problem is I don't have moves. I cannot move the knight, because then he's coming to d1. I cannot move either of the rooks, they are controlled by that knight. Yeah, that's bad. What's happening? Okay, the next one maybe. Not so sure. What's happening, man? What's happening? So close. Okay, if it's not working that way, it should work this way. So just program close. Okay. So fine. Let's see if let's see if this is if this worked. No line still. So if it's again against Stockfish, I'm gonna cut this out. So E4. Yeah. Right. Okay. But it was an interesting game, bonus game, put it that way. Thanks for watching.